My sister brought home a man who was crippled and blind, but she had no patience to take care of him. She dumped him on me and went off on a trip out of town. 3 days after she left, the apocalypse suddenly hit. Under my care, the man got better. Not only did he recover, he awakened powerful abilities. He treated me like I was the most precious thing in the world. When we met again, my sister was disfigured and had lost a hand, while I lived comfortably and safely. She was full of jealousy and rage. To destroy me, she lured mutated zombies to wipe us out. When I opened my eyes again, she shoved her packed suitcase into my arms and pushed me out the door. "Big sis, it's your turn to go travel now. I'll take care of him this time." I didn't hesitate. I turned and left. Without my space and healing spring, I'd love to see how she plans to become the leader's wife. She dragged her suitcase to the door just as I was changing Shurian's bandages. He heard the noise and turned his head slightly, asking, "Is someone here?" Without a word, she grabbed the gauze from my hand and knelt in front of him. "Brother Shurian, my sister's not good at this. Let me change your bandages. You left. Why'd you come back?" His words were cold, but there was a small smile on his lips. The moment I saw her rushing in with her suitcase, I knew she had been reborn too. In the past life, she left without a second glance. Afraid something might cling to her if she stayed too long, I asked. "What about the man you brought home?" She said casually. "You're still here, right? If it's too much, just throw him out." But now, she rested her head gently on Shurian's knee and whispered, full of guilt, "I'm sorry, Brother Shurian. I messed up. Can you forgive me?" When Shurian didn't answer, tears streamed down her face, soaking his jacket. "The moment I left, I regretted it. I kept thinking about you. Who's feeding you? Changing your bandages? What if my sister really threw you out? I couldn't rest until I came back. I brought you home, so I have to take full responsibility." Those words, with her tears, softened Shurian's heart right away. He reached out to wipe her tears. "Don't cry. You're getting your pretty face all messy." He didn't notice the smug look she shot me behind his back. I watched quietly. When they were done with their little show, she finally turned to me and shoved her suitcase into my hands, excited. "It's a shame the ticket isn't refundable, sis. You go on the trip for me, okay?" Before I could speak, she pushed me out and slammed the door shut. I looked at the suitcase in my hand and sighed. Shurian didn't know why my sister suddenly changed her mind, but I knew very well. In our last life, my sister Wanqing was obsessed with web novels. She loved stories about an ordinary girl picking up a broken man who turned out to be a hidden big shot. So when she saw Shurian, crippled, blind, but with a beautiful face, she took him home right away. But she'd never even washed a dish growing up. How could she handle taking care of a patient? After just a few days, she passed the burden to me and went on a trip. No one expected the apocalypse to come so suddenly. The tourist spot she went to was overcrowded and became extremely dangerous when the end hit. I thought she had died in the chaos, but 2 years later, I saw her again. She was filthy, her face wrapped in a dirty scarf, her eyes dull and lifeless. But when she saw me, all that blankness turned into pure hatred. Shurian, now the leader of our base, noticed her look and ordered her captured. They pulled off her scarf, and only then did I see she was still alive, but not doing well. Her face was ruined, and she'd lost a hand. To cheer me up, Shurian had a healer help treat her, gave her food and shelter, even let her stay safely in the base without doing missions. But she wasn't grateful at all. She blamed me for everything, saying I stole her life. "Shurian was my find. If you hadn't stolen my credit, I'd be the leader's wife living in luxury." I didn't respond. I just looked at her with pity. She tried to talk to Shurian in private, crying about how she'd saved him. He acted polite on the surface, but later complained to me, "She's ungrateful. Everything she has now is because of you." Just seeing her face makes me sick. The last straw came when she tried to seduce him. Shurian got mad and had her thrown out of the base. This time, she finally looked at me with pleading eyes, but I turned my gaze away. Driven mad by jealousy, she used her own blood to attract hordes of zombies, including mutated ones immune to powers. The entire base was destroyed. She died with me as her final act of revenge. Now, in this second life, she clung to Shurian right away. It's hard to care for a sick man, but it's better than running for your life and starving. And if she's nice to Shurian, She might win his heart and become the precious wife of the base leader. Big sis, it's my turn to be the pampered leader's wife now. That's what she texted me. I replied, playing dumb. Huh, what are you talking about? The jade bracelet on my wrist gave off a cool, soothing energy. I smiled. Let's see how far she gets without the spring water in my space. Let's see how Shiryen becomes strong without me. Kicked out by my sister. I had nowhere to go. The apocalypse would start in 3 days. I had to find shelter fast. I rushed to a rental agency near my neighborhood. The girl working there moved quickly and promised I could see a place that afternoon. With some time to spare, I headed to the wholesale market. I stocked up on 3 months' worth of food and supplies, then quietly stashed them into my jade bracelet in a hidden corner. There's a lot of space inside the bracelet, with the spring water. I had no problem surviving the apocalypse. I never needed to take resources from others. After viewing a few properties, I picked one in a nice, secure neighborhood and signed the contract on the spot. The agent refused the extra fee I offered. She said she was just doing her job. Her face was young and sweating under the sun, but she still held an umbrella over me. Something in me softened. I stayed quiet for a moment. I was so lost in thought. I almost got hit by a speeding scooter. She grabbed my arm just in time. And in that moment, flashes of many, many memories rushed before my eyes. The girl cried out helplessly. The zombie showed its terrifying bloody mouth. The girl, covered in blood, staggered and lunged at another scared person. I turned to the agent beside me. I opened my mouth, but couldn't say a word. This is my power. I can see the future by touching. Before we parted, I couldn't help but warn her, if you can, take some days off and stay home, stock up on food and water. From my last life's experience, I try not to interfere with others' fate, but seeing such a young, lively life die so badly, I just couldn't. The agent girl paused, then asked, is there some virus again? Then she shook her head, no way. If I take leave, I'll lose my full attendance bonus. But I'll stock some food. Thanks. I offered to buy her a juice. This time, she didn't refuse. While she went to the bathroom, I dropped a few drops of spirit spring water into her juice. Not enough to turn her into a superhuman, but it would greatly boost her chance of awakening her power. I hoped she'd safely get through the dark early days of power awakening. That night, I moved into my new rented house. I thought for a moment, then slipped into the jade bracelet space, in my last life. After Wan Qing ran away, the apocalypse broke out. Shiryen and I were trapped together. He was broken and abandoned. He had a bad temper and often smashed cups. Shards cut my arm. Blood dripped onto the jade bracelet. I got pulled into a strange space. There was a grass field about 1 acre big and a clear spring. I immediately knew this was the spirit spring space described in novels. But I wasn't sure if the spirit spring had side effects, so I added some to Shiryen's food and used him as a test. 3 days later, his blind eyes saw light again. His broken leg could barely stand. Only then did I relax. Now I stood beside the spring, watching the small pool about 1 square meter. If it was just for me, I could use it forever. But in the collapsing world, people's hearts are worse than zombies. If bad people found out about the spring's power, I'd be torn to pieces. Faces flashed in my mind. I made up my mind. Before I could act, a call came from a relative. The caller ID showed second aunt. I thought a moment and answered. Since my parents died 3 years ago, these relatives cut ties. If they were calling now, it was probably my good sister's doing. Xiao Axayan, did something happen to you? Second aunt, I'm fine. What's wrong? There was a pause. Then she cursed. That little brat Wan Qing lied to me. She said you had a car accident and were in ICU. She borrowed 50,000 yuan from me, said your family. And I gave it to her, but it felt wrong, so I called to check. She really lied. I stayed silent. She went on and on. I gave her money for your sake. You better get it back. I cut her off. I have nothing to do with Wan Qing anymore. Her problems aren't mine. By the way, stay home these days and stock up on food. She tried to say more, but I hung up. Several other relatives called, all saying Wan Qing borrowed money from them. Those who once treated me well got their money sent back anonymously after I hung up. For those like second aunt who kicked me when I was down, I did my best by just warning them. 2 days till the apocalypse, when the system collapses and money becomes worthless. I don't know if those relatives will even have the chance to ask for money back. Wan Qing really plays her cards well, always selfish, grabbing every advantage and trying to take others' survival chances. Disgusting. After my parents died, I worried about the 2 girls living alone, so I put cameras all over the house. I opened the security app to see what Wan Qing was doing. I didn't expect to see 2 blurry figures. Wan Qing's flushed face looked at the camera with a mocking look. Sis, don't be jealous of me. I quickly closed the monitor, feeling sick. After calming down, I switched to the living room camera. Countless supplies filled almost the whole room. Doors and windows were reinforced. Looks like she borrowed money to buy supplies. Not too dumb after all, after the city lockdown last time. I got into the habit of stockpiling food. When the apocalypse broke out in my last life, the food I saved barely lasted me and Yen 2 months, but I always stocked supplies quietly. Wan Qing, not so much, owner of 3 to 1806, buying so much stuff. Any news about a lockdown? I saw a message tagging me in the owner group chat and smiled. I didn't reply. Many others started asking too. Wan Qing wasn't in the group, so she didn't know, and I had no plan to tell her, after all. The worst thing in the apocalypse isn't zombies, it's people's hearts. My good sister, I hope you can stay safe until your Yen brother awakens his power. 2 days before the apocalypse, I wrapped up tight and went to the armed police base in Lin City. Before they treated me like a suspect, I said firmly, "Hello, I have important info to report." The guards eyed me carefully, seeing my serious look. One told another and went inside to report. Soon a female officer politely checked me for anything suspicious and led me to the reception room. When the door closed, she motioned me to speak. I nodded, rolled up my sleeve, and showed the jade bracelet. "Officer, what I'm about to say sounds like a fairy tale, but it's all true. There's a space inside this jade bracelet. Inside, there's a spirit spring that can boost your body." I took out a dagger from the bracelet. Ignoring the officer reaching for her gun, I bit my lip and cut my arm hard. Blood poured out, dripping onto the shiny floor, bright and sharp. Then I made water flow out of nowhere and cover the wound. The bleeding stopped. The cut healed visibly fast. In a few breaths, only a faint pink scar was left. The blood on the floor proved it wasn't a trick. The room fell silent. Everyone's shocked eyes turned serious. They were trained. Anyone could tell this was no ordinary thing. I looked at the female officer. "Will you come with me into the space?" She swallowed nervously. Glanced at her boss, who nodded. She saluted bravely. "Yes." Seeing her scared but following orders eased my nerves a bit. I held her hand and comforted her. "Don't be scared. It might make you a little dizzy." Then, with a thought, I brought her inside the space. Her eyes were wide in shock. She was amazed but still did her job, stepping forward to touch the real grass. Her eyes grew even more complex. When we returned to the room, everyone looked at her. She nodded with difficulty, confirming everything I said was true. The boss's face was cold and silent. I said again, "After drinking the spring water, my body changed. When I touch people or things, I can see a little bit of their future." I took a step forward. Suddenly, my nose went sour. I almost cried. I see a future full of dead things everywhere. People crying in pain. Humans barely survive among ruins, hunted by countless monsters. Order breaks down. Monsters hide in the dark, causing chaos. Survivors must give in to darkness. Dawn will never come again. Please, you have to believe me. Believe me. Tears ran down my cheeks. I could have just watched quietly. I didn't have to show my secret. I could let zombies run wild, let order collapse, live freely with the spring water's power. I could build a base like last life, become king, losing humanity. For me, that's good. I'd have 1,000 ways to get back at those who hurt me. But I've lived here since I was young. The people here gave me care and kindness. I love them. I love this land. I'm Wan Xayan, just a lucky normal person, but I still have a conscience. The strong young faces before me, they died protecting people during the first zombie wave. In the whole world, only our army stands in front of civilians to buy time. Babies stumbling, students talking about idols and shoes, workers rushing to jobs, elders exercising. I can't bear it. Last life, I regretted many times but was trapped and helpless. This life. I took off my jade bracelet and placed it on the commander's desk. The bracelet belongs to the country. It's more useful there than with me. After a long silence, rough hands with gun calluses handed the bracelet back to me. We believe you. That day, I met many leaders. I showed them the spring water from the bracelet. Finally, an old man often on TV came to me and stretched out his hand. One Axion, on behalf of the people, thank you for your selfless gift. Please help us take out the spring water for testing. I shook his hand seriously. It's my honor. Time was tight. No one wasted a second. I started taking out the spring water. The old man sat watching me disappear and reappear with a bucket. Tears glimmered in his eyes. I handed him a small cup. Please. Sir, he paused, then smiled and shook his head. I'm old. Let it work at full strength. The spring water isn't endless. To make the best use of it, the water taken will go first to special forces and the sharpest units. I didn't argue. I kept going in and out of the space. After the pool ran dry, I sat pale and wiped sweat off my face. Using the space so intensely was hard, even for me with awakened powers. A female officer gave me a cup of hot water. I took it and pulled out my phone. The emergency notice was so sudden, panic spread online. Everyone wondered why the city was locked down. Some even believed in conspiracy theories. The government answered with 4 words: trust the country. After all, it was only my word. The country believed me but couldn't say the world was ending openly. They just said it was a virus and locked things down. So even if the apocalypse didn't come yet, people had a reason to stay home. I thought a bit and opened a forum. Some fans imagined the end of the world had arrived, but new posts quickly pushed those down. I wrote a warning post. It explained how to fight or run from zombies, what to do if family or friends suddenly change, and a list of supplies to keep at home. I didn't expect much, but within half an hour, my post shot to #1 on the hot search list. The red, explosive tag stood out. If a post hits #1 like that, it means the government allowed it. I sighed with relief. I hoped more people locked inside would see it when bored, whether they believe it or not. At least they'd know. Then Wan Qing called. I answered. Sis, aren't you going to Province C? I smiled coldly inside but sounded hurt. Your ticket wasn't changed to my name. How could I go? She hesitated. Can't you buy your own? But I didn't want to go. You kicked me out. Her voice turned cold. Sis, you're reborn too, right? I stayed silent. She continued. You posted that online, didn't you? You're such a saint, almost dying yourself, yet worrying about others. In your last life, you only got by because of Brother Shurian's power. You think you're a savior. I want to see how you live this life without him. I'll be the great leader's wife. If I get the chance, I'll bury you. I laughed softly. Fine, I'll watch and see. The apocalypse started at the same time as before, but because of the lockdown, though there were infections, cities didn't fall one by one like last time. Cases were rising but still controlled. Our government acted early, but abroad wasn't so lucky. In just 3 days, almost the whole world was lost. Online, talk of the end of the world spread fast. Many pessimists posted despair, saying foreign lands fell. How long could we last? Better to die early than become ugly zombies. Some posts made others think about suicide. Then, a hidden camera video spread fast online. Fully armed soldiers dropped into zombie groups, covered in flames as they landed. The cameraman gasped, and viewers held their breath. Flames turned into fiery crows flying at snarling zombies, burning them to ashes. When all zombies were gone, the soldiers stepped out unharmed. The caption read, "When did humans evolve without telling me?" The video blew up, with millions sharing. Comments showed people posting their own spy photos. Here they are, the end-time powered ones. Only a few days, and powers appear. Does that mean the government knew the apocalypse was coming? Stop the conspiracy talk. If we threw you abroad, you'd behave. Our moms warned us 2 days early. That's why no big outbreak. Conspiracy people are just scared. See the red star on their chest? That must be our secret weapon. Can normal people get powers too? I'd be so happy if I could control fire. The long silent official account finally posted. We are always here. Online panic calmed down. Posts changed from fear to self-help and even fun. Some people with bad intentions still quietly showed themselves. The lockdown came suddenly. Most families didn't prepare enough supplies. By now, their food and stuff were almost gone. Prices had already gone way up. Even though the government banned selling supplies at high prices, many people took risks and traded secretly. Messages kept popping up in the owner's group chat, mostly tagging me, at owner of 3 to 1806. It's a tough time now. You have so many supplies stored. Can you help out? At 3-1806. We're neighbors. We won't take it for free. How about we pay 3 times the price? I saw it myself. Truckloads of supplies. They can't even eat all that, even if they live forever. I live next door to her. There are just 2 sisters in that house. At 3-1806. Do you have extra cold medicine? My kid suddenly has a high fever. Stores nearby are all empty. How can people be so selfish? Profiting from a national crisis. It's disgusting. I didn't reply. And the messages got angrier and nastier. Someone asked, what if both sisters turned into zombies? Someone else quickly said, no way. There's always noise from that house. They're definitely not zombies. A neighbor who couldn't stand it put me on the internet. This kind of thing happened a lot recently. That post was like a spark in dry grass. It spread fast. My private info was exposed. My inbox filled with hateful messages. And my phone kept ringing. All kinds of curses came pouring in. Even Wan Qing sent a mocking message. Sis, now you're famous all over the country. Isn't this better than being the leader's wife? I didn't reply to Wan Qing. She soon stopped laughing. The neighbor's anger peaked. Someone said in the group, I'm going to talk to her face to face. Then silence, probably on their way to my place. I checked the cameras. They were sitting in my living room, eating self-heating hot pot surrounded by supplies. Shi Yan looked nervous. What if they come after us? Wan Qing grinned. Don't worry. They think I'm my sister, and with zombies in the hallway, they won't dare come in. Shi Yan, once you awaken your powers, we can use these supplies to build a base. Okay, I'll be the leader. And you'll be my leader's wife. They laughed and rolled around, but then the laughter stopped. The security door was slammed hard, and loud voices came from outside. Wan Qing looked serious through the peephole. Outside stood more than a dozen men and women, smelling of zombie blood and flesh. They risked being bitten to come get answers. Open the door. If you don't open, we'll break in ourselves. Wan Qing cursed softly. Shi Yan hadn't awakened yet. The leader held a chainsaw. Even if we didn't open, they could force their way in. She wasn't stupid. After weighing options, she opened the door. They saw the room full of supplies and got angry. You have so much stuff but won't sell it to us. Do you want us to die? Wan Qing lifted her chin and snorted coldly. Buy? With what? It's the end of the world. Money is just numbers now. What use is it? Supplies are more valuable than life. My brother Shi Yan is a powerful psychic if you listen to us. These supplies can be yours. Hearing psychic, the neighbors stepped back, clearly afraid. The leader calmed down and said, if you really have a psychic, we want to see proof first. Wan Qing got even more arrogant and showed Shi Yan behind her. This is Shi Yan, future leader of the time base, a powerful ice psychic. Everyone looked, their faces twisted. You're saying this blind, crippled guy is a psychic? Wan Qing and Shi Yan's faces turned dark. Don't even think about coming to us for shelter. Pfft, like I care. The man started the chainsaw. Both of them shut up. After a glance at each other, Wan Qing honestly gave them the supplies they needed. They threw cash at her and spat before leaving. I thought it was time, so I wrote in the group, sorry, my sister kicked me out. The police took me in, or I'd be dead. Sorry, I can't help. I attached a photo from the police station and its location. The group exploded. Everyone turned against Wan Qing. Someone who came to her recorded a video proving I wasn't home. Wan Qing's weird talks like, money is just numbers, supplies are more valuable than life, and future psychics went viral. Wan Qing got furious seeing the online hate but told herself, when Shi Yan awakens his powers, I'll make them pay. Most psychics were sent to the border to stop zombies from entering the country. Communities organized teams to hunt zombies in the neighborhoods. Even close friends had to be ruthless. The best example was abroad. The police, now stronger, crushed new dark forces and arrested many opportunists. Community workers delivered supplies to every home. 10 days passed in this messy but orderly way. More and more people awakened psychic powers, and the internet was full of good news. But at Wan Qing's house, the atmosphere got worse. Qing had seen normal people awaken powers before and knew the first sign was a high fever. At first, she kept asking Shi Yan if he felt dizzy or sick and told herself it was just too early. But as more people awakened, she got anxious. She lost patience with Shi Yan and tore off her soft act, showing her cruel side. Ignoring his wishes, she forced him into the bathroom and dunked him in ice water, trying to make him have a fever. Shi Yan was sick and weak. After a few times, he naturally got a high fever. Wan Qing was overjoyed. She cared for him carefully, while cursing, "Those who hurt me. Your end is coming." Shi Yan did awaken his powers, but it shocked Wan Qing, because of the time delay power. Even though it's ice-based, it's less than 1,000th as strong as in the past life. It can barely chill a soda. Wan Qing totally lost it. She screamed and yelled all over the house, shouting things like, "Impossible," and "Liar." I was lying in the rental, drinking ice-cold beer from my space stash, watching her freak out with no power at all, on the monitor. Wan Qing shouted herself hoarse, looking like a crazy person. Suddenly, she grabbed her phone with a fierce look on her face. Right then, my phone rang. I calmly answered. Wan Qing screamed through the phone, "Wan Xian, it's you, right? You're behind this. Why didn't the apocalypse break out like before? Why is the time delay power so weak? What did you do? What are you hiding? Want to know?" I teased, smiling. "I won't tell you." She froze for a moment, then screamed even louder. A few days later, Wan Qing called me again, this time a video call. She looked tired but crazy, with blood splattered on her thin face. I said nothing and quietly opened the monitor. Wan Qing stared at me blankly, then suddenly said, "Sis, did I mess up? Why did I come back but still didn't get the life I wanted? Where did I go wrong?" She covered her eyes in pain, tears mixing with blood, leaving 2 deep streaks. I looked at the motionless time delay on the floor in the monitor and understood what happened. The time delay power didn't meet her expectations. Her dreams shattered. Her mind broke. She cursed time delay with cruel words, calling him trash and useless. Whenever she saw news about powered people online, she'd beat him up. Time delay wasn't someone to take it lying down. Plus, recently Wan Qing had been obedient to him, calling him a strong power user. He had already convinced himself he was some powerful leader from the past. How could he take her abuse? But his power was really weak. After secretly gathering strength for days, he finally formed a sharp ice spike. Today, he tried to attack her by surprise, hoping to kill her in one hit. But Wan Qing had survived a real apocalypse before. How could she lose to a cripple? She fought back, punching him until he was covered in blood and flesh. In the past life, time delay awakened his powers early with the help of the spiritual spring water and was very strong. I asked him to go to the neighboring province to find my sister, Wan Qing. He agreed, but kept delaying for days. Though I had the spiritual spring jade bracelet, I had no self-defense skills. When I saw he wasn't planning to help save my sister, I was ready to go alone. But he caught me and locked me up. He took my jade bracelet but found out it was bonded to me and only I could use it. He forced me into a relationship to control me with my chastity. That's how I became his captive. His ambition grew. Using his strong power, he ruled the apocalypse and fake-built a survivor base. He forced me to give him spiritual spring water daily. If I refused, he'd kill innocent survivors in front of me. To keep his mask, he pretended to love me in front of others, but I knew it was all fake. When Wan Qing found the base, I was shocked, but when I saw her scarred face, I felt a little relieved. At least she wouldn't become a fashionable toy like before, but she went the wrong way, thinking I stole what was hers. The day time delay kicked her out of the base, I could have saved her, but I didn't, because on the day she arrived at the base, I saw the future. Mutated zombies would break in and kill everyone except the 2 of us sisters who would wake up in the past. I didn't stop Wan Qing. I didn't warn her. I let the zombies destroy the base. She made mistakes, but she also brought the dawn of hope. I planned to throw time delay out and survive the apocalypse with her, but she tricked me without hesitation and led me to die at a scenic spot. Fine, let it be. After I finished telling her, She cried and laughed like crazy. Why didn't you tell me? You didn't tell me last life. And you won't tell me this time. Are you enjoying watching me fail? Do you hate to see me do well? I shook my head. No, you hate to see me do well. If you hadn't shown your jealousy so clearly before, I would have told you everything. You abandoned time delay. You went traveling. You seduced time delay. You brought the zombies. You chose time delay again in this life. You pushed me to die. All your choices. I was just forced to accept them. She grabbed her hair wildly, nervously biting her lip. Impossible. Impossible. You were always worse than me. I'm the novel's heroine. Why do you have a golden chance and I don't? You must have stolen my chance. It's you. I quietly looked at her. When have you ever taken me seriously? If you'd looked at me once, if you hadn't relied on others, you wouldn't be here now. I wonder why you keep holding on to me, wanting to destroy me. Wan Qing froze, then laughed wildly. You're worse than me in everything. Why do you live better than me? Why? I was reborn. I'm the novel's heroine. One more time. One more time. This time I will definitely beat you. She laughed madly, then stabbed a dagger into her neck. Blood sprayed everywhere. She whispered, I will win. Her bloodshot eyes wide open, a smile still on her lips. I stared at her expressionless and called the police. Hello, I want to report a suicide. Building 3, Unit 1806, Bayun Community. There won't be a next time. In my eyes, I only see flowers blooming in the ruins, and humanity rising again, half a year later. With my continued supply of spiritual spring water, over 1 million warriors awakened their powers. The government set up a special agency to manage and control powered people. Helicopters sprayed diluted holy spring water non-stop over Huagua. The number of sick people kept going down. Sometimes 1 or 2 appeared, but local psychics quickly stopped them. The mutated zombies from the last life never showed up in Huagua. Only soldiers who went to help in J country and a country brought back news. That's when people learned the outside world had turned into a hell. Half a year later, an anti-zombie virus medicine was made. People no longer had to worry that someone close might suddenly turn into a zombie. Life slowly got back on track. Soldiers went to different countries to rescue survivors. If no one was left, they left. Then fighter jets bombed everything fully. Finally, they dropped firebombs to finish the job. The fresh air from before the apocalypse was gone in those other countries. Only ruins remained. After this crisis, the world's population was less than 1/3 of before. The world changed a lot. Huagua became the clear center of the world. 18 months into the apocalypse, the whole country celebrated. Everyone watched TV together. An old man with gray hair stood solemn but happy. He said seriously, the darkest times are over. The dawn will shine on every survivor. On behalf of all humanity, I proudly declare, we have won. Cheers broke through the sky. The helicopters no longer dropped medicine, they dropped flowers instead. People flooded the streets. They hugged strangers and shared their joy of surviving. A few survivors with different skin colors watched with envy. The cheering crowd took their hands. Together, they joined the parade. Weeds grew strong between the tiles, blooming beautiful flowers. The past is behind us. We are starting a brand new chapter. The future will be better than the past. Early in the morning. As soon as I opened the door, I almost froze right there at the doorstep. I quickly went back inside and put on 2 more layers of clothes before heading out again. This winter feels way colder than usual. The worst part is, I'm a lawyer and I have to meet a client on Sunday. This client is the majority owner of a public company. The last time I saw him, I helped him with an acquisition, but this time, he wants to sell all his shares and property quickly and turn everything into cash. The moment he got the money, he breathed out like a huge weight was lifted off his shoulders. I joked, you're giving up billions. Are you running away from something? He joked back, preparing for the end of the world. Then he seriously said, Lawyer Chin, you've worked hard, rest at home these days and try not to go out too much. That afternoon, I saw his social media login was from abroad. Thinking about what he said made me feel uneasy inside. The next day, a surprising news came out. There was an aurora in Beijing. Keep in mind, Beijing is about 3,000 kilometers away from the Arctic Circle. In theory, auroras should never be seen here. Soon, social media was flooded with posts about this rare aurora. Some top experts explained that it was a normal event caused by a geomagnetic storm and it wouldn't have much impact. I scrolled through a bit and went back to work, but for some reason, today I got several requests to sell real estate. All seemed like people planning to go abroad. Unusual events always have reasons, and that uneasy feeling inside me grew stronger. In the afternoon, my close friend Ruan Ying called. She works at the National Meteorological and Astronomical Research Institute and is usually busier than me. Getting a call from her on a workday is almost a miracle. Yenny, did you see the news? Before I could say anything, she spoke first. You mean the aurora? Yes. It's not just a geomagnetic storm like the internet says. There might be more serious effects later. If Ying says serious, it really is serious. She wouldn't call me just for a small thing, maybe. Extreme weather. You better stock up. Then the signal went weak and finally the call got cut off. From those few words, I guess she meant extreme weather might come and I should stock up. In today's world, losing signal makes me feel very unsafe. And what Ying said made me think this is not simple. People always fear the unknown. When I found out others at the law firm also lost signal, I tried to focus on paperwork to keep my mind off scary thoughts. The moment the signal came back, I called Ying right away. Strangely, she sounded calm, as if she never made that first call. I just said the aurora is rare. You could buy a telescope. Even if you don't see it this time, you can use it next time. Anyway, gotta go do experiments now. Then she hung up. I clearly felt something was off. Ying knows I don't care about astronomy and weather, so she would never suggest buying a telescope. Also, she used the word stock up to describe a telescope, which felt weird. I checked online. Official sources still say the signal problems are normal due to the geomagnetic storm. On Weibo, searching a geomagnetic storm only brought official nonsense. There was also a cold wave warning. Experts predict another big cold wave after the 10th, the lowest temperature in almost 10 years. I searched extreme weather, but all news stopped 3 days ago. Searching end of the world showed nothing at all. All the little fears inside me gathered into a huge dark cloud over my heart, making it hard to breathe. I guessed Ying knew something but was told to keep it secret and could only warn me indirectly. Then my mom called. Sweetie, are you still working? It's getting colder, remember to dress warmly. Hearing her voice, my fear turned into sadness. I told her all my worries with a shaky voice. Don't panic, honey. If things get bad, just come home. I'm here. Mom lives in a new house I bought her outside the city's 4th Ring Road. It takes about an hour to get there from my work downtown. So I usually stay near work and don't go home often. It's okay. Even if the sky falls, Mom's here. Don't be scared. With her comfort, I calmed down. Mom and I are the type to prepare for the worst just in case. Before the pandemic started, we had travel plans, but when the first case was reported, we canceled immediately. Being cautious never hurts. After weighing everything, I decided to stay with Mom for a while. Her place is 1 apartment per floor, so more private and spacious. I helped check the neighborhood's building quality for legal risk before. Materials are good and well built. Also, many important people live in that area, so if anything happens, it'd be one of the last places to be affected. I sorted my cases and passed what I could to junior lawyers. At home, I finally felt calm. Mom and I agreed to stock up no matter what and called Dad back from his business trip. From the last pandemic experience, we knew how to prepare. Mom stocks frozen meat, vegetables, rice, flour, oil. I stock water, instant food, snacks, daily supplies, and medicine. Near home is a big wholesale market that offers delivery and doesn't draw too much attention. I don't come here often, but today I saw it's huge, 1 whole floor just for water. To save time, I picked a shop near the entrance. I remembered from the safety check that the floor can hold about 300 kilograms per square meter, about 15 water buckets per square meter, but I left space for other stuff. So I bought 500 buckets of water, about 8 buckets per square meter, plus 100 bags of emergency soft pack water. This is mostly drinking water. Other water needs will be figured out later. While buying, I noticed the life straws and looked at them curiously. The shop owner probably thought I was inexperienced and gave me 3 for free. As I left, I passed a man who immediately bought 100 life straws and 50 water purification tablets. Before I left the shop, I heard his payment. There were quite a few people in a rush like him today. At first, I thought it was because it had been a while since I last came. Now I realized, if I'm hearing this doomsday talk, others must be too, and it seems many more people have noticed than I expected. I hurried my steps on the escalator down from the 3rd floor. I ran into Mom buying frozen meat for family stockpiling. The wholesale prices are good, but Mom bargained and got a 20% discount plus some free freezers. I was impressed and felt even more motivated to buy. Using Mom's bargaining style, I told the food vendor I wanted 60 boxes of instant hot pot, 100 boxes of wontons and dumplings, 40 boxes of instant noodles, totaling 500 items. Then I added over 1,000 more. The owner thought I was running a small shop and sighed. Small business is tough these days. Then gave me a 1,000 yuan discount. I happily gave my address and moved on to buy canned food, snacks, and drinks. Spices and seasonings are a must. I bought 10 pounds of soy sauce and vinegar, 5 pounds of salt, and about a pound each of other random stuff. There are a few pharmacies in the basement. I picked one where I've bought medicine before. Lotus brand is like a miracle cure for our family. I bought 50 boxes each of capsules and powder. I also got some medicine for fever, cough, headache, inflammation. Some I recognized, some I didn't. I added saline solution, sugar salt water, gauze, band-aids, and antibiotics to the cart too. I even took my old nasal allergy certificate from a year ago and my mom's recent toothache proof to buy 5 spray bottles and 20 boxes of ibuprofen. Last, I bought 5 or 6 boxes of different vitamins, not too many. I kept those in the car to carry home myself. Just shopping took half a day. By then, it was dinner time. Mom got home earlier than me and had already cooked. After we ate, the first batch of deliveries was about to arrive. Mom and I waited by the elevator on the 1st floor. We told them to leave the stuff there, then we took it up ourselves in the elevator. We worked until midnight. Our 60 square meter storage room was half full, but many items were set to arrive the next day. When we finally collapsed on the bed, Dad got home too. He told us he'd heard some news from out of town. Before sleep, the 3 of us agreed. Mom and I would stay home to wait for food deliveries, and Dad would handle big stuff like solar panels. So the next day, we kept moving everything bit by bit. Luckily, delivery times were spread out, so the delivery guys didn't overlap. Dad said new doors and windows were ordered and the installers came. We locked the storage room and watched the workers finish before waiting for the next batch. In the afternoon, Mom stayed home while I went out to order lots of clothes, blankets, disposable items, and sanitary pads. When I got back, Dad had mostly finished setting up the combined solar and wind power system. He also arranged a water purifier, a gas stove, a flashlight, and a bunch of gadgets I didn't understand. My eyes scanned a pile on the floor. There were 5 or 6 types of solid fuel, each enough for at least 6 months. Dad stood proudly in the middle of all those boxes and cans, holding up a solar panel taller than him. "This kind of tech is super simple for your old man," he said with a grin. Mom said the whole city lost water and power for an hour today, though short. A citywide outage in Beijing was a real warning. It confirmed our fears. The signal got weaker and unstable. Officials started advising people to store food at home and go out less. We hurried to stock up as fast as possible, hoping to finish before the cold hit. The storage room was packed, and we even used part of the living room. My new clothes had no space, so I planned to put them in the elevator hall since we rarely used it. That's when I noticed something we had ignored: the fire door. The fire door to the stairs was always locked and never opened. The big iron door made things safer, but in an apocalypse, who knows? After talking with my parents, I pushed my clothes delivery by half a day and hired some workers to reinforce the door. At last, I felt more at ease. 6 days before the temperature dropped, Wan Yingying, who I hadn't reached for a while, called me. "Yenny," she whispered, "my phone hasn't been in my hands these past 2 days. Have you stocked up?" Yes, but your hints were so secret, I might not have caught on if I didn't know you." "No choice," she sighed. "Orders came from above, so now, no need to keep it secret. No one's watching now, everyone's calling." She didn't say it outright, but it was clear, secrecy was lost. Either it was all solved, or things were beyond saving. There'll probably be an announcement tomorrow. Stock up fast. I'll send you a list so you can check what you're missing. Okay, what about you? Don't worry, we have a safe place. Nothing will happen to me. Alright, take care. After a brief silence, she hung up. Seconds later, a list appeared. It mostly had medicines and tools. We had most of them, just needed to fill some gaps. As ordinary people, I don't know how bad the end will get. Or if the government can fix it. All I can do is prepare for the worst. After lunch, Mom asked me to get a few freezers at the market. When I got there, many rice, oil, and flour shops were closed. Those open had less stock. I asked other vendors nearby. They said big orders cleared their stock and they went home. Few can afford to buy that much. I guessed it was the government moving supplies early. Storm clouds gathered. The signs of disaster were clearer. At midnight, while I stayed up late, the government made an official announcement. Starting December 10th, the world will face extreme weather. Preventive work will begin soon everywhere. Please stay calm, prepare water, food, and warmth, and trust the government. The power of unity is our strongest weapon. We will face this crisis together. I didn't feel much. It was like a criminal knowing they'd be sentenced to death, finally accepting it at the last moment. Within half an hour, all supermarkets that could deliver were sold out. But people didn't panic much. From 4 a.m., armed police in armored vehicles delivered supplies in neighborhoods. Banners hung in communities said, "Supplies released on schedule, no panic," and "Follow instructions calmly and orderly." Every building had a checkpoint with supplies to register and collect. When I went to get my share, they gave quite a lot, 5 pounds each of rice and flour per person, plus a small box of eggs. Auntie Chen, the property manager, was registering people with her daughter. They recorded door numbers and household sizes. After registering, Auntie Chen pointed to a small convenience store nearby. "It sells non-essential goods and snacks your kids might like, but only 100 yuan per person." She always called everyone younger than her kids. I'm used to it. The store was well stocked and priced normally. I bought some short shelf life sweets we didn't have and paid Auntie Chen before going home. Online discussions about the extreme weather were everywhere. Videos showed many armed police on the streets, standing every 2 or 3 steps. Supermarket lines were long. I was very glad I stocked up early and didn't have to push through crowds. For the next 3 days, people kept buying supplies, officials maintained order and strengthened facilities, and our family stayed home filling the quiet with novels, shows, movies, and games. We also made a checklist to double-check that nothing was missing. The last day before the big cold hit, I finally made sure nothing was left undone. I felt a huge weight lift off my chest. That night, I slept the best I had in days. Woo, woo, the alarm woke me up. I opened my eyes and shivered. What I saw was unbelievable and right in front of me, no way to look away. The northern lights slowly flowed through the sharp alarm sounds. They poured in through the big window, filling every corner of the room. It felt like I was inside a shimmering endless pond. Waves of light washed through me, spreading out then coming back together. The bright northern lights only lasted about 5 minutes, then they slowly faded, and the world went back to deep black. That's when I noticed how cold it had gotten. My skin felt ice cold. The heater was still on, but it couldn't fight off the chill outside. I quickly told my parents to turn on the heater and plug it into the outdoor power source. The alarm turned into a looped message telling everyone to stay home and not go outside. Drones flew by now and then. I didn't know if they were collecting info or just patrolling. I tried to use water and electricity. Both were out. December 10th, 2023. That's when extreme weather officially began. At first, the temperature dropped to -20 degrees Celsius. Then it kept getting colder, and heavy snow started. By the time the snow stopped, there was at least 30 centimeters of it. Every step sank deep. Supply deliveries moved to the building entrances. Officials told everyone to stay home unless absolutely necessary. If you had to go out, you needed permission from the building manager. We had enough food at home, but I still went to pick up supplies every week, just to keep a low profile and not attract trouble. As a lawyer, I've seen too much darkness in people. I don't trust strangers easily, but to be fair, the cream rolls at the small store were really good. The supplies from officials kept us fed, but life wasn't the same anymore. Every time I picked up supplies, I saw the security guard in the guard room smoking cheap cigarettes from the store. Cursing, "Damn this weather." Officials tried to keep the heat and water going, but it wasn't great. I read online that some places could only wipe their bodies with wet paper. At times like that, I felt lucky I noticed the signs early. I could still take hot showers and stay warm inside, eating good food. News said some places abroad had weird mutant viruses. No one knew if it was because of the disasters or people taking advantage. Compared to that, China was relatively stable now, but no matter how stable, people only had enough to survive. No real quality of life. 2 months went by. Some people couldn't take it anymore. Damn it, let me out. One day when I got downstairs, I saw the guard running outside but stopped by Aunt Chin Lee. "Calm down, everyone's quarantined. It's dangerous to go out, then get me some booze and snacks. The small store has some, but I only get 100 yuan limit. If I buy booze, no money left for smokes." The guard grumbled angrily. To avoid trouble, I grabbed my supplies quietly, registered, and went back inside. Maybe the guard's complaints reached the heavens. The temperature really started rising, but it went up way too fast. Already 30 degrees. Mom shouted while telling Dad to get the ice out of the freezer. Who would have thought in just 3 days? The temp jumped from -50 or 60 to +30. The heater suddenly felt like ice. A strong El Niño is showing up. After the cold, another tough test awaits. It's raining outside. Maybe it'll get better, but the rain got heavier, and the temperature kept rising. Cloudy days in a row meant we put away the solar panels and mostly used canned gas and outdoor power. Soon, rain flooded inside the building, getting half a person deep. Internet and power went out. We lost contact with the outside world. It had been a week and a half since official food deliveries. Supplies were overdue, but none came. Many families had run out of food and shouted from windows, asking for help. Our food stock decreased a bit, but rice and flour from officials were still enough. Enough for at least 2 years. My parents and I talked about sharing some with neighbors but decided to wait and see if things improved. One early morning, when my parents were still asleep, I wanted to cook some wontons. By the window, I heard someone downstairs say, "What are you doing?" I peeked out and saw the guard and Fu Lingling. Fu Lingling was sitting in a baby pool, holding another inflatable filled with rice and flour. She was soaked, just back from collecting supplies. The guard was blocking her at the door. I quietly cracked open the window a bit and listened to their argument. "Give me some first. Didn't you bring this for us? It's for the whole building. You'll get some too. Don't worry, there's barely anything. How much can I get? Give me." Their fight got rough. I panicked. Just as I looked for something to help Fu Lingling from a distance, the guard pulled her out of the pool. One arm pressed her down. The other choked her underwater. She struggled, hitting his arms, but couldn't break free. She floated up occasionally, screaming painfully. In seconds, she stopped making noise. The guard dragged the pool inside and tossed her body aside like garbage. I froze, cold all over. Before the sun rose, a living person was gone. No one noticed. How many others saw this through their windows, just like me? I don't know how long I sat by the window until my parents woke and saw me. "Yenny, why are you just sitting there?" I told them everything I saw. Mom hugged me. I buried my face in her chest and took deep breaths. During my internship, I handled criminal cases, but seeing a murder in real life was completely different. What scared me more was if things didn't get better. This might be just the start of chaos. I had no appetite, barely ate breakfast, and went back to the window. The guard was gone, and Fu Lingling's body was gone too. After killing her, the guard seemed to like stealing supplies. The next day he knocked on every fire door yelling for cigarettes, but no one answered. He then used wire to try to pry doors open. No luck. From morning till night, all you heard was his yelling in the stairwell. That day, when I checked the water level outside the window, I noticed something missing. The air conditioner outside was gone, even the bracket. How could it just vanish? No one would steal that. I looked closely and saw 4 small holes on the wall, with rust marks, if I'm right. Those holes held the bracket. We live high up. No one could have climbed up to corrode the wall, so it had to be the rain, acid rain. Realizing this, I felt scared. If I hadn't been afraid to open the window, I might have looked outside. The building's outer layer had acid-proof coating, so it wasn't badly damaged. No big safety worries. On the bright side, acid rain could help with trash. I was just worried about not being able to take garbage downstairs while eating. I thought about the corroded air conditioner and got an idea. If rain can corrode metal, maybe it could corrode. This rain could be the perfect chance to get rid of the guard. I told my parents my plan. They looked at each other and asked, "Honey, are you sure about this?" I stayed silent. I never thought I'd solve things this way. But if I don't, he stays a threat. Besides, he killed Fu Lingling. Seeing I didn't answer, they understood. They sighed and said, "Be safe. If things get bad, we're here." I smiled and teased, "You're the best. Love you guys." After breakfast, I changed the lock on the fire door to a weaker one and only locked it lightly. I used some supplies from storage to free up space, moved elevator supplies to the storage room, and locked it. In the afternoon, the guard's cursing came from the stairwell again. He seemed to notice the rain's corrosion and used a steel basin to catch rainwater and poured it on the lock. I smiled. That makes things easier. I put a door stopper under my foot to stop it from swinging open too hard and hitting me. I could hear the security guard fiddling with the lock outside. My fingertips felt a bit cold as I hid behind the door. I listened carefully. The moment he burst in and came into view, I swung the crowbar down. The first hit missed the mark and landed near his ear. Before he could react, I hit again, this time right on the back of his head. He finally went out cold, before he fell. I grabbed a basin to catch his blood, so it wouldn't spill on the floor. I tied him up tight to make sure he couldn't move. Then, I pushed half his body out the window, letting the rain do its work and erase the evidence. I thought about just throwing him down the stairs, but I wasn't sure if the rainwater would still be strong enough after mixing with the puddle. To my surprise, I wasn't rough enough. He woke up halfway through. The security guard started struggling violently. I couldn't hesitate anymore, so I threw him into the puddle below. Luckily, even diluted, the rainwater's corrosion seemed enough. The guard screamed like the girl, Fu Ling, did back then, but unlike Fu Ling, he deserved it. Watching him fade into the rainwater, that cold feeling I had ignored came back again, but this time mixed with a strange pleasure. Trash like him should be dealt with. Next was cleaning up. I threw the crowbar and the basin down the stairs. The acid rain would destroy all the evidence for me. I put the original lock back on the fire door, but I kept the half-corroded lock too. My dad changed the lock on the security door, and we tossed the old one downstairs. I checked the balcony several times, worried the guard's struggles might have left traces. The only real problem now was witnesses. The noise was a bit loud, and the neighborhood has many people, so someone might guess what happened. There was nothing else I could do but hope no one talked. No full evidence chain meant no case. After cleaning the scene, I took the keys from the guard and went to his place to find the supplies he had stolen. Actually, Fu Ling hadn't found much, about 100 pounds each of rice and flour, enough for 12 households to share for just over a week. I hesitated whether to distribute the supplies. If I gave them out, witness statements might get messy and hurt my case. If I didn't, many people in the building might not last long. Then I thought of Fu Ling. When she went out in the rain to get supplies, she wanted everyone to survive, so I decided to fulfill her wish. After telling my parents, I added more rice and flour from storage and gave each household enough to last half a month. I carried a new crowbar in my pocket when delivering the supplies. Neighbors kept thanking me. I waved it off. "It's Fu Ling who brought these back. You should thank her." The rain kept falling, but the puddle stayed steady. With enough stored fuel, my family didn't worry about power. Every day was just eating and drinking. Reminded me of lying low at home during the pandemic. The only downside was we had few vegetable types, mostly lettuce, cabbage, potatoes, and radishes. Otherwise, we had to eat pickled veggies. As soon as the signal came back, I called the police to tell them the story of an innocent girl fighting back against a big bad wolf. They said they'd come take evidence soon. When official rescuers arrived, they took off their orange jackets to reveal police uniforms underneath. They looked serious and said, "Hello, we're the police." "Me, you guys are pretty busy, huh, with disasters. Police want things to be easy." As long as the story made sense, that was enough. But surprisingly, they barely followed any procedure. Just took notes on 3 floors and left. Later, I learned about a new temporary law that lets them skip steps if there's enough evidence. It really saved me a lot of trouble. After the rain stopped, the community organized flood cleanup and gave extra supplies. I signed up as a volunteer, even though I kept exercising at home. After a few hours of sweeping water, I was out of breath and hungry. Just as I sat down to rest, something tugged my shirt. A little girl, about 4 or 5, held out a chocolate and said, "Sister, have some chocolate." "Thank you," I said, crouching down. "But sweetie, don't give strangers candy. It can be dangerous. My parents said that too, so I can only give candy when they're around," she said. I looked where she pointed. A couple nearby were shoveling snow and watching us quietly. They smiled and nodded at me. I smiled back, took the chocolate, patted the girl's head, and said, "Thanks again." She bounced away to give candy to the next person. I stood up and kept cleaning. When I picked up supplies after volunteering, Aunt Chen was there registering people. Seeing me, she gave me half of her supplies. I tried to give it back, but she stopped me. "Take it, I can't finish it alone now. Consider it from me, and thank you." She squeezed my hand seriously. "Really, thank you." I couldn't refuse, so I kept it. After the storm, life slowly got back to normal. I volunteered regularly and spent the rest of my time at home eating, reading, and watching shows. The lockdown lifted soon after, though the streets were still quiet. At least there was noise, no more total silence. Rescue and rebuilding were happening nationwide. Things were getting better. Just as I thought I could return to normal, an alarm blared again. "Please go home quickly. Do not go out. Typhoon warning level 12 or above." The alert repeated over and over, and soon the streets emptied. I'm not from the coast, so I'd never seen a typhoon. I knew level 12 was severe. Beijing is level 12, coastal areas must be worse. I checked online. Coastal areas were hit by a level 16 typhoon. While tracking the storm, suddenly, click, everything went dark, and my phone lost signal. The power was out. Before turning on the outdoor power, I closed the second-floor curtains to keep the light inside so our home wouldn't stand out, but I saw a gray cloud in the distance. It was hard to spot in the dark but coming fast. The typhoon was here, within 4 or 5 seconds. The gray swept over our area. The dust storm carried weird things, clothes blown from somewhere, someone's test papers, even handcuffs. The tents and repaired wires I just fixed were destroyed instantly. My hopes and dreams were swept away by the typhoon, leaving no trace behind. For dinner, Mom thawed some frozen meat and made cola chicken wings, kung pao chicken, and stir-fried lettuce with oyster sauce. Mom's kung pao chicken is the best I've ever tasted, better than any restaurant. The chicken is crispy at first bite, tender inside, and has just the right mix of sweet and spicy. It's never greasy. Usually, I could eat 2 big bowls of rice with just that dish, but now, even hot food can't clear the dark cloud in my heart. Just then, I heard a cry for help outside the window. I looked up and saw a twisted human shape flash past me. It was a person blown up into the sky by the typhoon. No longer human in form, listening to the howling wind smashing debris against the window. Panic flooded me like a rising tide. If the window broke, would I be lifted up and tossed in the storm like him? The thought, "I'm going to die," hit me clearly for the first time. I tried to calm myself. "It's okay. We picked the best doors and windows during renovation. Nothing will happen." Maybe the shock of seeing that person outside stuck with me. I felt drained until bedtime. I just wanted to sleep and forget everything. But who knew I would sleep for so long? I only remember feeling drowsy while my parents gave me medicine and checked my temperature several times. In a dream, I somehow upset my ancestors and got thrown out of the dream, waking up with a start. Before I could fully wake, a loud crash caught my attention. I looked at the glass and saw cracks spreading fast. The cold chill I felt while waiting for the security guard now spread through my whole body. I fought that feeling and ran out of the room as fast as I could. Without even putting on shoes, the moment I shut my bedroom door, the glass shattered with a loud crash. It all happened by instinct, just 2 steps, and I was sweating cold sweat. I could feel the wind devouring the room through the door. My parents came out and quickly put a jacket on me. Then they moved some blankets to the elevator hall and checked my temperature again. "The fever's down," Mom said with relief. Dad said, "The typhoon might have gotten stronger. Even the tough glass can't hold. The wooden bedroom door is even more dangerous. The front door is better, but just in case, we'll have to stay in the elevator hall for now. We rearranged our essential supplies and moved some to the elevator hall. I leaned on Mom and held Dad's hand, hearing the typhoon scream through cracks in the doors. I couldn't help asking, will we survive this? Mom stroked my head and said, we will, but we all knew the best doors and windows couldn't hold much longer, in front of nature's power. Humans feel so small. Knock knock, 2 sharp knocks on the door. I closed my eyes, ready to give up. Knock knock knock. The knocking came again, faster this time. It wasn't the wind, it was someone at the door. Who is it? Hello, we're the Chinese Armed Police Rescue Team. We're here to move survivors to a shelter. I opened the door a crack and saw the familiar green uniform with red shoulder patches. In that moment, I felt like a fish back in water, my dry skin soaking up life again. Emotions hit me hard and my eyes filled with tears. Please pack quickly, the whole neighborhood will be evacuated in 10 minutes. If you need help, just ask me. I nodded and hurried to pack with my parents. We took what we could but left a lot behind. Maybe, with this extreme weather, you should stock up more. So we gave some supplies to the officials and hid the rest in a secret spot in the underground garage. Just in case, the shelter above ground was small and temporary. After registering, survivors were taken in groups down to the underground shelter. Inside, it was simple. Thin wooden partitions made rows of small rooms, barely wide enough for 2 people to pass. But being safe was the most important thing. No one expected luxury. The rooms were assigned by family size. Our family of 3 got a 15 square meter space with 2 bunk beds and nothing else. We put the supplies the soldier helped bring inside. The rest went to the officials. At the shelter, I saw Ruan Yingying after a long time. At first, I couldn't believe it. Then I hugged her tight. Yingying, thank you. No need to thank me. We're friends. We both started crying. Don't cry. Things will get better soon. I wiped her tears and tried to comfort her, and myself. Yes, everything will be okay. 2 weeks later, the typhoon finally stopped. The government recruited volunteers for disaster relief and rebuilding. I signed up. Stepping outside again after half a month felt surreal. The place was a ruin, broken bricks, metal scraps, wood, and broken furniture everywhere. Volunteer teams were already cleaning up, wearing bright orange vests, the only bright color in the gray ruins. Not far away, Yingying seemed to be surveying the damage with her teacher. She noticed me and made a special hand gesture we both understood. Let's see who does better. Now it felt more like, keep going. I put on my orange vest and joined the cleanup. Around me, more orange vests gathered, standing out in the gray world. When steel and concrete collapse, what still shines in the ruins is the strong will to live and the hope that the future will always come.